Hey, boo. This is WDIEGO Skyrim Calculator Builder for a Paladin. I was going to do I just look up here so it doesn't look like my eyes are like, is that better? Anyways, I'm going to walk through my build so that you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing so that when you go to make your build, you make better choices. Now, these are for the perk choices. So when you go to my build, look under the tab perks under the Skyrim calculator. I went ahead and created an account. It's friggin' free. So that way you can save it. So under the heavy armor tree. So on block, because I'm doing shield, I took all of it. Every single thing up there. 13 points. Took all of it. Block for shield. Because actually, once you get shield leveled, I mean, it's just as powerful as having that two-hander. But I love the two-hander sword because sometimes you get nice two-handers. So for the next tab, for heavy armor, I went all the way up the right side. Juggernaut, well-fitted, tower strength, matching set, reflecting blows. Now, if you're going to go light armor, I recommend take all of it, every single perk. Agile, custom, unhindered, windwalker, deft, and matching set, all of it, if you're going light armor. Work the smithing, because you can enhance your armor. You're going to need it to get your light armor strong enough to where you can take damage. One-handed, I went right up the middle. Armsman 5, fighting stance, critical charge, and paralyzing strike. I didn't get anything else out of that tree. Same with the two-hander. I went 5 in barbarian, 1 in champion, 1 in devastating, 1 sweet, 1 more master, as you can see. Smithing, I'm only doing steel and arcane. And the reason I'm doing that is because steel, you can upgrade it. Every time you go to the smith, you can make it stronger just by upgrading it. You don't have to make new armor, but the game, of course, gives you more armor as you play. I got to start looking at this camera. So then the next tree, I take enchanting. And this one's important because I want to have a fire sword because everything's susceptible to fire. So I went with 5 and 5 out of the enchanter. First one in fire enchanter, insightful enchanter, corporate enchanter, and then extra effect that she puts 2 enchants on everything, right? You don't, like I said, you don't have to do that. You can just go with the normal gameplay. But when you're up against this boss and you're barely winning, you're gonna wish you had those extra little perks. Restoration, I took Novice Restoration, Dual Cast, Regen, Respite because to heal stamina, because I'm going to burn through stamina if I'm using my two-hander, because I love power attacks once I stun them. Apprentice Restoration to get the next level spells, and then Recovery so that my Magicka restores 50% faster. Don't really need it, so you could take those 2 points and put them somewhere else. I got Avoid Death. So once a day, heals you for 250 points automatically if you fall below 10% health. So when that snow leopard sneaks up on you and does a backstab and all your health goes away, this could heal you for another 250 and keep you alive. Ward recharges my Magicka when hit with spells. I like that. I don't necessarily need that. And I think it's a passive perk, which is really nice. And I'm going to go with the Atronach Stone, which I'll read it to you in a minute. Let me see. Let me set this down real quick. Okay, so the Atronach Stone increases your Magicka by 50 points. So I'm not going to drop a lot into my Magicka because I'm going to do mostly health and a little bit of stamina. And adds 50% spell absorption, but decreases magic regeneration by 50%, which you can add onto your armor to nullify that. So you get spell absorption, which increases your mana. Another defense against magic because I'm mostly melee. So next tree, I went with Alteration. And the reason I went with Alteration, because I normally don't do this, one, it helps you level up. I cast it. As soon as it goes down, I cast it. I don't care if I'm in a store, I cast it. Because every time you cast it and there's like a high-level being around or like a merchant, even a merchant, it might level you. So I did Novice, Dual Casting, Apprentice, and then the Magic Resistance, of course, which blocks 30% of magic. So if someone's hitting you for all your hit points, this will block 30% of that, so you have 30% of your health. I went with Adapt and then Stability to make the spells last longer. I thought about not doing this. I see me. Oh, I can't. I think I might be able to do the next two trees without having to use stability. I went with Atronarch to absorb 30% of the magic of spells that hit you. I think these two have a percentage of working. Like, let me see. Magic resistance is different than, because like you'll get 30% of the spell. Like if it's going to do 100%, magic resistance will make it 70%. 70. Like if you're going to get hit with 100 points of damage for the spell, this will make it so you only get hit with 70. But then H-Narc makes it so that the rest of the remaining 70 points, 30% of that will be absorbed into your magicka. So it loads your magicka up. Plus you've got the Atronach stone, so you'll be pretty good against spells. Because I tell you, you get two casters in a room, or three, you are toast. Toast. You'll be drinking potions like it's New Year's Eve, 1999. So then next tree, I went with speech. And the reason I went with speech is because it matches my character's role play type of thing. Because everyone wants to help the paladin, the holy warrior, right? Because they think that if they help them, it's like make them up for all of the wrongs, right? And so I went with 5 out of 5 haggling there to get 30% better pricing. Allure for 10% better sex because I'm a fucking sexy ass female. And I think it's fucking hilarious. My character looks like fucking Mary with like light blue eyes, like wolf eyes. And then I went with the merchant perk to sell any item to, because like I'd be at the freaking merchant that accepts, robes and shit. He runs out of money. So I'm stuck with all this extra shit. So I can go to the smith and say, hey, buy these robes for me, and he'll do it. All right. So then I went with, that pretty much covers it. So I'm doing heavy armor, one-handed and two-handed, and block. Now, I think, and the reason I went with that is because I love the sword play. I love swords. Now, I was thinking, and this is why I stopped playing, because I was thinking of doing fire to match my character for some reason. I don't know why. Like a holy fire kind of like fire paladin or something. But no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the restoration tree, because with the restoration tree, you actually, once you do the Dawn Guard quest, they give you some pretty cool fucking spells. You get a holy aura, you get spells that do damage from a distance. So you'll have that, I'll have that, so I don't have to pick up a bow. So anyways, all these kinds of things, they're explained in other videos that I've watched in on YouTube. So like if you're making a archer, look up how to do an archer, because you may need, like there are some instances where, you're not fighting a boss, but you're fighting his lieutenants, and there's 3 of them. What are you going to do? Because once you attack the one, 3 of them come at you. So you need someone to take that damage while you're shooting arrows. And granted, Lydia's good for that, but you got to keep her armor like to a T. Got to give her a shield, so she can take the damage. You got to be ready to heal her ass, because she'll take all of the damage and die for you. But anyways, like once, I usually do everything alone, because I am a warrior. I'm going to heal myself and because I understand the gameplay. And there have been instances where I've been in a match, like when I'm doing the quest line for Meredith, I don't know. She's a goddess, and you gotta clean her temple out of the evil necromancer. The end fight, you're fighting like 20 fucking, I don't know, dark ghosts, and then he's casting shit on you. You lose health so fucking fast, even with help. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta use some strategy. Like I don't run into like I remember I tell you my game style is like I'll run into the middle and just start kicking ass. Well, with this guy, you can't really run into the middle, because you'll die. He will kill you. I learned that the hard way. So I go to the doorway, and then I back up into the hallway, and they fight me, and they're fighting upstairs. So I have the height advantage. You know what I'm saying? And through those numbers, Persian sword will meet with Spartan shield, and their numbers will account for nothing. That's kind of the strategy I used. They can only be two aside. The 2 people in the back can't do anything. 2 people behind them can't do anything. But the caster can still cast spells, so you gotta be careful about that. But yeah, strategy like that, huge in this game. They really took the time to like make sure they implemented this in the game because it makes it fun. Otherwise, it'd be boring if you just ran over everything, you know? So no matter what character you play, you're going to run into an instance where it's like, fuck, how do I get through this? And you really got to think about how you're going to do it. Which, like for an archer, you might want to include illusion, because in that spell line, they have a spell where I think it's called like Fury, and then there's levels of that as you go up. But what it does is like they have control spells for humans and control spells for animals. And so if you're running into a room full of lieutenants, you can control one of them with this spell so that they fight each other. And now you not only have Lydia, but you have this other guy fighting them too. And they're all focused on him taking damage. And you can just come up, backstab, or shot through the neck. You know what I mean? So sometimes you can't do them alone, but it does require strategy no matter what you play. And some creatures will not die with one shot. So you got to think about that. And if you miss, you still get the aggro sometimes. So you got to be careful about that. And you're not a warrior, so once they focus on you, you're fucked. You need escape strategies or ways for your warriors or your tanks to get back that aggro. All right, that's my video for today, and that's why I chose those perks. So that's why the Skyrim calculator is so important. And it doesn't show that I actually used all the points. So like I have 2 points that I can use anywhere. If I don't, use that one perk or mod where you can legend something and start over and go past, level 81. But I just want to do it the way the game was designed to do. Because once you get to a certain level and you start becoming God mode, it's not fun. You know what I mean? I want it to be challenging. I want to be able to use my brain and say, okay, I outthunk this scenario and this is how I would do it for everything else, and because the way I would fight in real life is the same way I fight in this fucking game, which I think is amazing that they did it that way. So anyways, something to think about. And that's the end of my video. Hope you liked it. Hit subscribe. And I'm just kidding. Send money.